Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Car.Ross Sr., and this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody listening all over the world. Thank you for our new listeners. Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, continue to make it great. And we hope that we're bringing you conversations and dialogue that's helping you become better. And again, I have my brother with me, Mr. Christopher Smalls, who is a chaplain, a CP over at Novant Health. And we're very, very appreciative that he comes and brings his expertise and his wisdom and his knowledge and experience to the table. So what's happening, Chris?
What's up, my brother? What's up?
Hey, man, nothing much, man. It's glad to see you, man.
Yeah, man, good to be here.
Yeah, beautiful Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, I want to thank God for allowing my brother another year on this earth. Just celebrated a birthday. Can't overlook that.
Thank you, bro.
Happy birthday to my brother. Yeah,
it feels good to get older.
Yeah, it does, man.
It's a beautiful thing, ain't it?
It is. A lot of people ain't made it this far.
No, they're not, man.
Thank God.
We thank God that we still here, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So listen, we got a great topic on today. As me and Chris were able to share a little bit. Most of the time after the show, we're able to kind of just talk anyway and kind of build. And it's such a beautiful.
And before the show.
Yeah, and before the show. Yeah. It's a beautiful experience. I love the fact that I have a friend that can come through. And it's not just about fun, but actually we can actually build and learn from each other.
Yes, sir.
And continue the process of growth as men. Because we never stop learning, Chris.
Nah, man. Nah.
We never stop learning, man. So I'm very appreciative of that, to have this relationship. It's not one-sided, you know. It's, you're able to, there's a lot of reciprocity there. So it's a beautiful thing. So listen, we're downtown, of course, here in Greensboro. So you'll probably hear a couple of noises probably going through, but we want you guys to know, just continue to listen to the dialogue. But if you hear something go by, don't be surprised, because we are smack dab downtown on the busiest street here in Greensboro. So listen, today's topic is about grief. What else did you add to that, Chris? Grief and what else?
Basically, loss and grief.
Because, loss and grief.
Yeah, we all suffer from loss and the subsequent outcome. Is grief. You're going to grieve, right? So, loss and grief go hand in hand. So today's topic would be loss and grief. Yes.
And I love it, man, because once you help me kind of navigate through some things personally, I was sitting there like, man, I never thought of that situation. I'm not going to jump ahead either. I'm going to jump ahead. But when I thought about it, I was like, wow, man, I didn't even think about grief, because sometimes we associate grief with death. Most of the time, but not knowing there's so many elements to death. Like there's so many ways you can die, even not just the physical, but emotionally, spiritually. It's just relationships. It's so much more. But I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to get ahead, bro.
Yeah. I
really want you to just dive on in, and I want the folks to hear what you have to say, because this is an area that you actually deal in.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, like you was just saying, man. Like, we always associate grief with losing a loved one. We associate grief with death and or loss, I should say. Yeah, you're losing a family member, losing a friend, losing a pet, or whatever. But grief is associated with any type of loss. We lose friends, we lose relationships, right? Not only to death, for losing friends to death, but we lose relationships. We lose those connections. Yeah, we lose jobs. With that job, you lose income, you lose status. You lose a certain role that you fulfill in your community. We lose spouses, and divorce is a big loss. Yes, we'll dig into that. You lose physical strength as you get older. Yeah, you know what I mean. You can't run like you used to.
That's true.
Don't
feet be hurting, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As you get older, as a man, you lose stamina.
Yeah. Yeah. They got them Nugenics out there, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they got the blue pill. Got the pills out there for all my fellas. But, that loss is going to bring some grief, right? So Yeah, man. So that's basically what it is. But a lot of people don't understand that they're grieving or that they should grieve, or that they're going through something when they suffer the loss. So that's basically what I'm going to talk about today.
Good stuff, man.
What causes grief? What is grief? And then I also want to explain what the difference is between grief and then grieving, right?
Yeah.
Because grief is something that we all suffer from because we all lose in this life.
Yeah.
We all lose in this life. And we suffer, we grieve. Well, grieving, I should say, let me back up. Grieving is a combination of powerful emotions that bombard us when we lose someone or something we value, right? That's what grief is.
Yeah.
I should say, I'm sorry. Grief is a combination of powerful emotions that bombard us when we lose someone or something we value. So we're all going to have grief because we all value something or someone in this life. And when you lose that, you're going to have grief. We all become attached to things. We're created that way. We're created to seek love, companionship, relationship, attachment. That's the way we're created.
Yeah.
And so once you lose it, and you will, right, eventually, it's inevitable in this life, you're going to have grief. But grieving is the actual process you go through to heal, and not to forget about that thing or that person or the experience that you're grieving about, but it is to to put it in its proper place and to be able to live a fulfilled life, even with that pain.
Yeah.
So that's what grieving is. But sometimes people don't grieve.
No.
They neglect to. They sit and stew in their anger, or they avoid it. They seek out unhealthy habits, or they run from it because they don't want to go through the pain. Like I said, grief is something we all suffer from because it comes with the loss. Yeah. But grieving is the process that we have to go through.
Woo.
Yes, sir.
Man, just in that little bit that you said, it's a lot to unpack in that, man. Like, it's a lot to take in from that. I heard so much. I heard pain, loss, grief. Even when you were talking about pets, well, I didn't even think about that. When people lose their best friend, could be their dog or their cat or even a mouse,
hamster, snake,
anything.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of times we don't take those things serious, Chris, and we don't allow ourselves that time.
That's right.
Like you were saying, can you elaborate a little bit more on that, Chris, when it comes to how we can find ourselves navigating through grief and attaching ourselves to other things? Can you kind of expound on that just a little bit more, if you would?
Okay.
But I hope it doesn't take you off track.
No,
though.
you're good.
Okay.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you wanted me to expound on the different types of loss?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And how we can find ourselves taking on attributes that are not good for us
in the process
of grief.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. Hope I conveyed that
yes,
right
sir,
to you, brother.
Did.
Okay.
You did.
Okay.
All right. So I'll talk about the different types of loss.
Okay.
And then in that we'll find out how much they mean to us.
Yeah.
And how we'll find substitutes for them. Okay.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
So material loss, right? You get evicted from your apartment, or you get foreclosed. Your house gets foreclosed on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's think about that for a minute. When you don't have anywhere to stay, losing that autonomy, losing that independence.
Yeah.
Losing that, losing your home, losing that dignity. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Losing that identity.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the shame and the guilt, the embarrassment that comes with that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Having to move back home with moms. Woo. Having to move into a shelter. Having to move into a motel.
Yeah.
You understand? Having to explain that.
Yeah.
Okay? So how do you cope with that? How do you cope with that loss? Because there's going to be some grief with that. It's going to be some anger. It's going to be, like I said, the guilt and shame. It's going to be, some hurt.
Yeah.
So I may cope with that, with drugs or alcohol. I may cope with that. I may, whatever I run to.
Yeah.
When I'm distressed.
Whatever that thing is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever my safe place is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I lose my car. I lose, my car gets repoed.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Now I got to find a way to work.
Yeah.
Now I got to find a way to get my kids to school.
Yeah.
Now I got to find a way to get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Now I got to find a way to get to church. Now I got to find a way to get to the gym. Now I got to find. So even outside of the guilt and the shame of not having your car and having to explain that to everybody, you still lose all that freedom to be able to go when you want to go. Now you're dependent on people. You understand what I'm saying?
I
So
do.
that loss is going to bring about a series of emotions. It's going to bring about, so much turmoil in your soul.
Yeah.
And so because of that, that's the grief.
Yeah.
But grieving is the work we do, the intentional work we do that enables us to return to living our lives fully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So grieving is going to be learning how to deal with that loss.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't do that the right way.
No, not at all.
Everybody doesn't do that effectively. So that's the part that we need to take hold of. That's the part we need to find out how to do that productively. And it may look differently for everybody else.
Absolutely.
For somebody else, it may be riding the bus for a few months, picking up a part-time job. And
come on, man.
Going to get a car right quick before that repo show up on your credit.
Come on. We all been there. What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And then for somebody else, it may be, I don't know, regrouping or carpooling or
that's right,
Ubering
Chris.
to work
that's right,
for a while.
Chris. That's right.
For a year or two.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Or walking to work. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
so much in that.
Yeah, so much. And so you got material loss. Then you got relationship loss, romantic or otherwise. Excuse me. Opportunities related to those relationships. Most of the pain comes from those of being able to relate or connect with someone else.
Yeah.
So that's that isolation.
Yeah.
That loss. Some of our identities are found in our relationships. Who we know.
Come on.
Who loves us and who do we love? So man, it's so deep. It's just that grief and the loss associated, or the loss and the grief associated with it.
Yeah.
It all depends on how attached you were to that thing you lost.
Absolutely. I find this to be such a how can I say this? Let me say this. This is just an absolutely great conversation to have because, number one, not only is it good, but you're able to reflect on, okay, where did I miss it at? But it also gives you perspective and understanding on you. As you're explaining loss and grief, you're able to look back over your life. Well, I know I am. Let's say that. I'm able to look back over my own life and say, wow. So I was acting out at that time, dealing with grief and loss, but it was because of this. When I think about that, okay, I lost this, I lost that, but I took on something else that made it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
So that pain, like I used to hear back in the days in the church, when you jump into a relationship and you leave out of it and you're not healed, you're still dealing with the loss of that relationship, but you go and you recreate another relationship and what was once a small hole now is a big gaping hole, a big wound, if you would. I don't remember who taught on that, but you continue to create these wounds and it gets larger and larger. And so now you just broke up.
Yeah, man.
And there's in each time that you continue to keep going, you're trying to fill it up and pack it up, patch it up with another relationship, but you're cracked up.
Yeah.
You're broken like a shattered glass.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't fix it. You're just filling in gaps and holes. But man, there'll be one blow. That one blow can take you out of here.
That's right.
So it just brings perspective to everything that you're saying, even as you're continuing to build on this, Chris. One of the questions that I wanted to ask is how do we recover from that, Chris, when we've done so much damage? I know the easy thing for us to say is, well, go to therapy. Go to therapy and this and that. But I can remember the days when I was going to therapy before I actually got healed from some of the things that I'm dealing with, that I would be in those therapy sessions in pain. You couldn't see it, but boy, I was feeling it, even as talking about it. But how do we, how do we do that, Chris? How do we have the ability as humans to mask this pain and this grief and this loss and keep going? Do you think it's just the human experience, or it's just how our makeup is?
I believe it's definitely the human experience. Okay. To be human is to lose something.
Sure.
Right? You're going to lose, some of us, we're going to lose our ability to walk. Eventually, we'll lose our ability to see, some of us. Ability to hear as we get older. We'll lose money. We'll lose jobs. We'll lose family members. We'll lose a lot of things are going to be lost in this life.
Sure.
Opportunities will be lost.
Yes.
Relationships will be lost. Yes. So on and so forth. I can go on for days.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's part of the human experience. So with that loss, excuse me, will come grief. The key is to realize that nothing that we have in this life was meant to stay forever.
Yeah.
But the things of value to us, things that we cherish, things that are important to us, we are to keep it close to our hearts as possible.
Correct.
To cherish it and to respect it and to protect it as much as possible. And even in that, some of those things will be taken from us too.
Sure.
Some people that we want to stay in our lives will walk out.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that some jobs that we want will be taken from us.
Yes.
But the key to healing is to recognize the pain.
Yeah.
We talked about it on emotional awareness last time.
Yeah, we did.
It's to recognize the pain.
Yes.
It's to recognize. See, grieving takes, like I said, it is the intentional work, right?
Yeah.
You have to be intent on understanding the pain that you're going through.
Yeah. And
you have to be willing to focus on it.
Absolutely.
Like you have to be I'm not saying get down on yourself, but I'm saying recognize what you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Recognize where that pain is coming from. It's okay to say, I'm not in this relationship no more.
Yeah.
I feel like crap.
Yeah.
It's okay to
it's
say.
It's okay to feel that way.
Yeah, it's okay. And then there's different, and then sometimes there's complicated grief. There's like the grief where my father died, but he was abusive. So I always wanted his love. I never got his love, but he's dead. But there's a part of me that's sad, but there's also a part of me that's angry.
Yeah. Because
while he lived, he hurt me, but I miss him too.
Yeah.
So you got that grief too.
Absolutely.
And then now I'm confused and I feel kind of angry at myself because I shouldn't be feeling bad over somebody that was such a SOB.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
What I'm saying?
I do.
It's all those levels to it. But for those of us who are still grieving losses, I want to read you something. It's from a book, All Our Losses, All Our Griefs. I believe the author is Kenneth Mitchell. Let me see. Let me get this right.
Sure, man. Absolutely.
Kenneth Mitchell and Herbert Anderson. And according to them, we never stop grieving.
Wow.
And the reason why we never stop grieving is because the memories associated with the things we've lost never go away. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So, but successful grieving, or good grief, as they call it, is being able to put those painful memories in their perspective place.
Yes.
But still live a good life. Still live a fulfilled life. I remember, you can remember those things that were important to you, right?
Yes.
And cherish those good memories, but still be okay with what you got now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's the place that we need to get to.
Oh, man. It's going to take a great deal of work, too.
Yes, sir. Let me read you this.
Yes, please. Go
excerpt.
ahead. Go ahead.
To grieve properly, and this is from the book, All Our Loss is All Our Grief. To grieve properly is not to forget the lost object entirely or the person, but to let that object or person go, quote unquote, significantly to make new attachments and new investments in life. A lost loved one really does live on in memory, and that memory will color our lives from that point on. But it need not and should not dominate our living. Proper grieving makes new attachments possible while living with old memories.
Wow.
So yeah, man, it's that process of putting things in that perspective. You know, yeah, I miss my old car. It was a nice car, but I couldn't afford it. I was in above my head. They took it from me.
Yeah.
I got behind on the payments, but thank God for this, what I got now.
Absolutely.
It's not as cool as the last ride, but it gets me to work. You know, those type of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, man. You sound like you're in the vein. So you there.
Yeah.
You there. I don't want to stop your thought process. So,
but yeah, I wanted to talk about divorce too.
Whew. My Lord.
Yeah,
Jesus.
crunch. Stepping on little toes.
Ow.
But again, grieving is a process in which our attachments to the lost person or object are not entirely given up, but are sufficiently altered to permit the grieving person to admit the reality of the loss.
Yeah.
And then to live without constant reference to it.
Yes, sir.
So it's okay to acknowledge it. Its importance in your life. It's okay to acknowledge what it meant to you, but you got to move on.
Yeah, you do.
You got to move on.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
You got to move on. So
I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
This is beautiful, and you know I love having these conversations because once you become mature and understand life, it becomes easier to have these type of conversations, Chris. And it's a beautiful thing, you know, the older that you get, the more you're able to handle these conversations.
Absolutely.
Too, and be okay with even if you've erred or made mistakes. And yeah, man, because I feel like that comes with growth, that comes with wisdom, and then sometimes you can look back at it and chuckle.
Yeah. You got to own it. You got to
own it, man. You really do.
Yeah.
And so I want to keep going, though. I heard you mention divorce, and divorce is a very, very complex thing that we see happening in our lives, especially when you start adding children.
Blended families.
Yeah, man. And then once you add multiple divorces in there, and then you move on, you've stacked up a few things, really and truthfully, just being honest. I'm speaking from experience.
Yes,
and sometimes you can make errors along the way. And then once you mature and once you grow, and then you reflect and say, wow, I could have done this better. Yeah. I was nowhere near. And that's no guilt and shame. You know, I don't feel bad about it. But the point I'm making is you're able to look back and assess the situation from a real place and say, wow, I could have done this better. I should have cultivated this relationship a little bit better. I mismanaged over here. I see where I mismanaged this way. Because whatever you mismanage is going to get away from you.
Absolutely.
You're going to lose it.
Yes,
so let's talk about divorce, my brother, and all the elements and the nuances that comes along with divorce. And I know you're going to dig in now.
This is
I love it.
This is something that's close to the vest.
Come on, man.
I recently.
Oh, I like that too. Close to the vest. Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
This is something that I've recently experienced myself.
Yes, sir.
Divorced. It'll be 5 years soon. So, again, referring to this book, All of Our Losses, All Our Griefs. Here's an excerpt. He says, the author say, if it is true that grieving never ends, then it is also possible to suggest that there is no such thing as divorce. People may choose not to live together anymore and may get a legal divorce, remarry, and be happy in that new marriage. But it is not possible to eliminate all memories or care or emotional investment in one's former partner. Working with people through a divorce is more appropriately understood as grief work. The goals of grieving are as applicable at the end of a marriage is at the end of a life. When a second marriage occurs, moreover, it is important to pay attention to the lingering grief present for all involved. When I read that, it made me instantly think about people after a divorce or a separation or leading into a divorce. And it took me back to my own story. I remember being in a lot of pain. I remember coming home to an empty apartment and couldn't sleep because it was too quiet. You know, I remember those days. And I didn't really know what I was going through. I didn't know I was grieving. I remember, you know, being in pain, crying for no reason. And I remember a lot of guilt, too, and shame associated with it, a lot of isolation, a lot of seclusion, not answering my phone, not responding to text messages. And I really didn't know that I was grieving. You understand what I'm saying? So, but in hindsight, what I was going through and what other people may be going through who are listening to this is completely normal, because divorce is a death. Marriage, from a biblical standpoint, is the union ordained by God to bring forth life. So subsequently, the end of that is going to produce death. And so when you're going through that, something that you were invested in emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, financially, you were extremely attached to, right? So once it's severed, a big portion of your life, internally and externally, is now ended. And that's a grief that's very different than losing your grandma, or losing your dog, or losing your best friend, because once they're gone, you don't see them anymore. But when there's a divorce, it's a different kind of death, or a different kind of grief associated with that death, because when you're co-parenting, you still got to see them. So, yeah. So you have that constant reminder of the death. Can you imagine you lose your grandma and you go to the funeral, right? And you cry, you go to the gravesite and you cry. And then you see grandma the next week. You see her again, like she's alive.
Yes, sir.
And then she die again.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like when you go through divorce.
Absolutely,
and you
right.
co-parents and you see this person. You have to see
relive it.
You have to, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and boy, it's hell. I'm gonna just go ahead and say. It ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my brother.
Thank you.
Sorry for being carnal, my brother.
Thank you for the color commentary, my brother. But it's needed. It's needed.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man. So, yeah, that's a different kind of grief. That's a different kind of loss.
I agree.
It's really heavy. So, but for those who are going through it and those who have been through it, those who can relate, and if you are connected to someone who's going through it, be patient with them.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. It's very painful. Sometimes your family members, they pick sides. Sometimes your friends, they pick sides.
Yeah.
And sometimes it ain't your side.
Nah.
And
That's right.
And then some people, they just steer clear of both of you.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't want to do. They don't want
to deal with either
one. They don't
one.
want to deal with it.
Yes,
it's a very volatile situation. It's very sensitive.
Come on,
and they don't want to deal with it, so they just stay away from you.
Absolutely,
you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just love on them a little bit. It's very tough, and if they are disappearing, if they're hurting, if they're angry, if they're not themselves, they're grieving.
Yeah, let them have it.
Yeah, let them have it. Let them have it.
Let them have that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the perspective on that. It's so true. You do experience death. I remember my mom was sharing that with me, and I told my mama, I said, well, hell, I done had 3 deaths in my life. I said, Lord, have mercy. Yeah, I don't want to do that no more.
No, sir.
But,
sir.
I think as you get older, you get better. You're supposed to anyway. You get better. You're able, like I said before, you're able to kind of look at life through a different lens. It definitely helps you not to be so easy to judge. Because when it's your time to wear that badge of, when it's time to wear that honor or that badge of hurt or damage, it ain't no joke.
No, sir.
So you'll step back a little bit and say, oh, wow, okay, now I understand why. There's always a why in there.
Yeah, man.
We don't take time to find out what that why is. And so I'm glad that you're able to give us the why and convey it in a very great way.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm hoping, as you guys are listening, as Chris has so eloquently said, you guys are able to get something out of this conversation. Maybe you're going through a divorce, and we're going to continue to build on this conversation because there's so much more that we're going to touch on. And again, the purpose of this platform is to help people become better. And no, divorce is not easy. It's a very difficult thing to go through, as stated before. And when you start adding kids and co-parenting, and it can be a doozy because fights can break out and kids can see that. And then that's a whole nother element that you don't want to bring inside of the co-parenting aspect. And it can be drawn out for years if not properly facilitated.
And one of the things you were talking about earlier about dealing with that grief in unhealthy ways.
Yeah.
Quickly redating.
Ooh.
I
liked it.
You separated.
Yeah.
Your marriage ain't really over yet. You still legally married or whatever, and you got a boyfriend or girlfriend within weeks, and it's just, the old saying goes, hurt people hurt people.
It's true.
It's true.
It's
true.
So true, Chris.
And what people really don't realize is that the person who's going through the divorce, you end up getting hurt worse. Sometimes the next relationship you get into, it's really not going to work out.
Wow.
Because you're not ready. You're not ready.
I got you.
And the other person is going to suffer. The person has nothing to do with your pain that you suffer from your marriage.
Yeah.
But they're going to walk out of your life because you're going to make them miserable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's true.
Because you're going to make them pay for what you just experienced or what you're still experiencing.
It's
right?
true. It's true.
You're going to look for things. You're going to look for them to heal wounds that your spouse.
And it's almost impossible for them to.
They don't stand a chance.
No.
Okay.
It's true.
I feel sorry for them, but they don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
And that hurt you experience from that breakup.
Yeah.
Is going to be equal, if not worse.
More damaging.
Exactly.
I like that you said that. Here's what I do say, though. I disagree with you just a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
You can. It's your show.
Yeah. That's right. It is Raw Cloud, ain't it? Raw Cloud. We having some fun here, but this is a very mature conversation. Absolutely. So I hope you guys are just kind of really taking the time, taking back to really listen to the meat. We're having fun. We're good friends. But this is what this is about, us growing and becoming better. And the only reason I say I disagree with you on that, Chris, is true. I erred 3 times, right? And I totally agree with what you said on each one of those relationships. I didn't properly allow myself to heal in each one of them while we being transparent.
Yeah.
In each one of those, I didn't allow myself to heal properly. So I ended up making even more mistakes, even seeing the mistakes that I made. Now, once I got into this relationship, it was something totally different. And this is why I say I disagree with you. I'm with someone who's very mature. Someone who said to me, hey, man, you can't love me until you love yourself. It's cool. We can keep dating. But you need to go get you some help before we go any further. And so that was the best thing I ever had somebody say to me. So I think as from a standpoint of perspective that if you get with someone who's mature like that, that's gone through their own hurts, then they're going to direct you in the right direction because they don't want to be hurt. Just what you said. It's not dismissing what you're saying, But I just think that if you get with the right individual and they're mature and they say, hey, man, you need to go through therapy. So I ended up doing therapy 2 years by myself. Then we started going together.
Wow.
So we were able to create a very healthy relationship because of that. So what I'm saying to you guys out there is me and Chris are building is Chris is absolutely right in what he is saying. I'm not dismissing what he's saying. I'm adding value to what he's saying by saying, hey, if you get with somebody who's mature, who's been through their own hurt, and they're saying to you, love is correcting you. Love is saying, hey, I think you're a great guy. But, man, you need to go get you some help because you can't love me until you love yourself. I'm with you. I'm going to hold you down, but you need to go get some therapy, some intense therapy. And after you do that, we're going to go together. And then we're going to keep continuing to revisit if we have to. So I think that's a very valuable point to make from that. And I think only experience can bring you to that and growth. And again, relationship with God is so valuable in these transitions in life, Chris.
Yes, sir.
But I wanted to just add that part to you. I'm not really disagreeing with you. You got me. I'm not disagreeing with you. What I am saying is what you're saying is you're absolutely correct about it. Absolutely correct about it. Boy, your mama find the oddest times to call you. Mama, I'll call you back. Love you.
Love you, mama.
Yeah.
I
love what you said, though, because you're absolutely right. Because as I was thinking about my previous relationships, but all the damage that I caused in doing those 3 relationships, though, Chris.
Yeah.
And how I mismanaged some areas in my life. Yeah. And there's some losses that's there.
Yeah.
Now, am I grieving because of some of those losses? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm stronger today and have taken accountability. But again, forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's like you told me before, it takes time for those things to heal. Because look at all the time it took to do it.
That's right. That's right.
So now it may take years for forgiveness to come back.
Yeah.
So I'll digress. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Man, and listening to you talk, it took me back to a quote from Mike Murdoch, who's a Christian guy.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Mike Murdoch,
I know who he is.
Real good businessman.
Yes, sir.
Intelligent, very wise man.
Believe in that seed, the law of seeding and sowing and reaping. Go ahead,
I'm going to tell you
brother.
something Mike Murdoch said, and it's very germane to what you was just telling me about your wife.
Yeah.
And it fits for both men and women, but his direct quote was, there's a king and a fool in every man. And how do you know when you met your queen? She speaks to the king in you. And so when you told me that your wife said, you're a good man, but I see that you need some help in this area, and you can't love me till you love yourself, she spoke to the king in you.
She spoke to the king in me, Doc.
And that's how you understand what I'm saying?
I do,
So there's
Chris.
a queen and a fool.
Do.
There's a queen and a fool in every woman as well. And so women, how do you know when you met your king? Because he speaks to the queen in you.
Woo.
You understand what I'm saying?
Boy, that thing powerful,
So
bro.
when a man ain't talking to you right, and I'm not, now hold up now. I'm not saying he ain't telling you what you want to hear.
Come on now.
Now,
Yes, sir.
when a man is ladies, when a man is holding you accountable, when he's holding you accountable and telling you the truth, it's uncomfortable. I understand. I'm not talking about being disrespectful.
That's right.
But when he holds you accountable,
yes,
your wife held you accountable.
What?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
When she spoke to the king in you, she held you accountable.
Yes, Chris.
For your pain.
Yes.
And she told you need to go fix it.
Yes.
I'm not going nowhere.
I'm here.
But we're not going further.
We ain't going no further.
Until you fix it.
Yes.
So she spoke to the king in you because she held you accountable. Women, when that man speaks to the queen in you, he's holding you accountable.
Yes.
Don't get so quick to be offended when a brother or whoever tells you about some areas in your life that he would like to see you grow in.
Yeah. Yes.
And before y'all go further.
Yes.
So when a man speaks to the queen in you, that's when you find your king. So there's a king and a fool in every man. There's a queen and a fool in every woman.
Come on here.
Yes, sir.
God almighty, boy. I love it, Chris.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. These are the kind of conversations that I love to have, that I've been wanting to have. Mm-hmm. But, you know, a lot of times when you get into this space, unless you've grown, unless you've matured, then these are hard conversations, but necessary for us to grow, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to become better. The beauty of that word that you said, accountability, that's a beautiful word. Ooh, it can make you very uncomfortable, though, what you stated before. Because I remember when she said it to me, the first thing I was like, well, what you mean? You know, automatically
on the defense
side. Nah, I'm good. No, I'm good. No, you're not. And meant it, which was something that was very important. And then being, because she knew her own pain that she had gone through, and she knew what she didn't want to do anymore, and what she wasn't going to do anymore. Period. Bottom line, Chris. Bottom line, and set a standard.
Absolutely.
Set a standard and stood by it.
That's right.
And it helped me grow.
Yeah.
It helped me become better. Now, there's some other things I still got to get straight.
Always. Till you breathe. As long as you're breathing.
As long as you're breathing. But those things are only going to come with time and forgiveness and understanding. And just what we're doing now, a conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's how we grow. So I thank you for this conversation. But I love the pull and the tug on each other to get the best out of each other, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
That's right. Iron sharpens iron.
So I appreciate you, because you pulled that out of me. And this is beautiful, man. We're going to keep this going, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's keep going about grief and loss, man. I'm excited. Yes, sir. Because I don't know about y'all, but I hope somebody's getting some healing today, because I'm definitely.
I believe they are.
Yeah, man. It's beautiful. Go ahead, bro.
So I just want to continue talking about the different type of loss we have, because to live is to lose, right?
Yeah.
So there is also intrapsychic loss, which is the loss of hopes and dreams. Finding out something or someone isn't what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, this hit me, man, probably like a couple of years ago. I'm 45. I'll be 46 soon. And I was like, by 42, I should have been here at this level. You know, I thought I was going to have this. I thought I was going to be here with my education and with my experience and my knowledge and my insight. Yeah. You know, I should be here by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I got kids this age. I should be here. Yeah. But I'm not. Yeah. I've had this setback. I've had that setback. Yeah. And for those of you who can relate to that, there is that intrapsychic loss. There is that loss of expectations, where there is that loss associated with expectations, dreams, unfulfilled. All right, you know, those hopes that have never been materialized yet. So, yeah, that is a real loss, and there is a grief associated with that loss. So sometimes you'll see people who may be angry, irritable, not spiteful, but bitter. Yeah. Right? That's the word I was looking for. Bitter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's because of that. And if you feel that or see that or sense that in yourself, understand that's what it is. Yeah. And I'm not saying cut your losses and just forget about it. Yeah. But I'm saying reinvent yourself. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And don't give up just because you're not where you think you should be by now. Samuel Jackson didn't make his first movie till he was about 40.
Yeah, about 40-something.
You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who are successful.
Come on.
Vera Wang didn't make her first dress till she was in her 40s. I mean, so
it goes on and on, Chris.
And on, man.
So true.
I think Colonel Sanders had like 5 or 6 businesses that failed before he started KFC.
Come on, Doc.
What I'm saying? So
come on, man.
There are, and if you research it, there are so many successful, really successful people. I think Oprah Winfrey was fired.
She was. Michael Jordan was benched.
Exactly. So there are so many success stories where people got started later in life or later than they thought, or they suffered setbacks and stuff like that. So No.
I was going to say something. I forgot my train of thought. It was going to be kind of funny, because there was this guy, as you're talking about that, he didn't become successful, but he did make it to Rap City in the Basement. He was 60 years old, but he was a rapper at 60.
Wow. Oh, God, okay.
I know that's a strange. He ain't give up in it, bro. It's time to throw the towel in from my perspective, my brother. 60 years old, you want to spit bars? Okay. Not 16 on that mic, but but to your point, he didn't give up on his dream. He didn't go platinum, but he made a little something.
Oh God!
I ain't gonna lie, he was 60, but he had bars.
Wow!
I mean, we saw Rakim on the stage at 60.
Yeah, they KRS-One too.
KRS-One too. So I mean, it's all perspective, but you know what I'm saying. Have a little fun in there, y'all.
You're crazy, man. Oh God!
Go ahead, my brother.
Well, yeah, man. Functional loss. We talked about functional loss: sight, balance, strength, coordination. Oh man, I used to go see my great grandmother, God rest her soul, Grandma Carrie. She died back in I think 2003.
Okay,
something like that. She was like 89, something like that.
Yeah.
But I used to go see her in the old folks' home. That's what we called it then, but
gotcha.
Retirement center or whatever.
Yes.
But I used to go see her, and it was full of old people.
Okay.
That were angry and bitter and like mean old people.
Yeah.
And I used to ask myself, why are these people so angry?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I'm looking back and I'm like, these people have lost their ability to wash their own bodies, feed themselves, dress themselves, make their beds.
Yeah.
They lost their home. They're not living in their own home.
Yeah.
They're not living in their own community.
Yeah.
They have very little visitors.
Yes.
They have very little interactions in the community. They've lost. Some of them had bed sores because they wasn't getting out of bed.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's a lot of losses.
A whole lot.
And that grief associated with that loss, that angerness.
Yeah.
That anger.
Yes, sir.
Not having friends and family to come visit you. That hurts.
Yeah, that hurts.
That hurts.
I totally agree.
That loss of community, that loss of relationship.
Yes.
That loss of, fellowship.
Yes.
So I mean,
that's so true, Chris.
The role loss associated with a role and the person's identity. It's doubly sad for a widower, not a widower. I'm sorry, a widow. You think of a woman who loses her husband. Not only has she lost her husband, but she's lost her role.
Yeah.
She is used to cooking for her husband every night. She's used to, doing his laundry. And I'm not saying this in a demeaning way, but some women take pride in that.
Absolutely.
Some women still take pride in making a home for their family. You understand what I'm saying? So it's that loss in that role, or if you retire. I saw it on LinkedIn the other day, a man or a woman, I think it was a young man, not a young man, but I think it was a man. He was had spent 35 years in law enforcement.
Wow.
Something like that. I think he was a chief or something, and he was retiring. So, that's a big role loss.
Well, you're huge, man.
So it's that loss and that pain that we cannot escape.
I love it.
Because attachment is a human necessity. We have an innate desire for intimacy, companionship, and validation.
Yes.
We have an innate desire. God has put it inside of us to connect, to have intimacy and validation. And because of that, we suffer loss.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir.
I love it. I love this, Chris. This has been totally a great conversation. one that we all possibly can reflect on, and know that at the end it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. You know, get the necessary help you need. And I like what you said a few minutes ago, though. You said allow yourself to feel that pain. Yeah, you have to have those moments. Allow yourself to just not answer the phone if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. Allow yourself to just be by yourself if you want to. If you want to go see a movie by yourself, do that.
Yeah.
I think that's so valuable, because so many times we, in the past, when I think about it, people will say, come on, let's go. Come on, get out the house. You need to get, maybe they don't, though.
Yeah, sometimes they don't. Now, they've been sitting in the house for weeks and weeks, and not sitting in the house, but like if they go to work, go home, go to work, go home. They've been doing that for weeks and weeks.
It's time to get them out the house. It's time to get them out the house. But thank you for correcting me on that, though. Yeah.
But there are some times when you need to get out the house. Sometimes you need to stay home. So,
yeah. Okay. So it needs to be a balance of that, you would say, Chris?
I would say, yeah.
Okay, then. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So a balance of that, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from Mr. Smalls. So make sure you bring a balance to that, you know. But allow yourself to feel that. Don't stay there, though.
Yeah, don't stay there. You know, it should be a balance of emotions for all of us. You shouldn't be happy. I don't want to be around somebody that's happy all the time. You know, my damn nerve. You happy all the time. Good God.
What's going on with you?
Exactly. So,
somebody lying somewhere.
Yeah, man.
You happy all the time.
Yeah, so, you know, that should be a balance. That should be a balance of our emotions anyway. But for those who are suffering from trauma, for those who are grieving, please reach out for help. Please recognize what you're feeling. It's okay to hurt. It's human to hurt. It's human to need help. And it's human to help others. So don't grieve by yourself. And that's all I would say.
All right, there it is, guys. I hope you guys have heard something today that can help you become better. And we pride ourselves on bringing you things, bringing you conversations that can help you become better. Listen, if you need help and you need to speak to someone, there is a hotline for you. It's 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. The hours are available 24 hours. Languages are English and Spanish. So hit that hotline. Help is available for you. Listen, this is the Ross Clown Podcast. I'm Car.Ross Sr. Make it a great day and keep being great. Peace.